Always good to have him on the air. He's going to join us throughout the NFL season. He's probably been with me now for about, 6-7 years or so. Lloyd Vance does a great job covering the NFL, contributing a writer for the NFL Network as well. Good follow on Twitter. And it is that time of season again, my friend. It's training camp, but we still got to get a little excited, right?
Oh, it's time. It's finally here. I always can't get enough of NFL, and now it's time to start talking about it again.
What'd you make of the Barkley contract for the Giants?
I thought it was solid. A lot of people were saying, well, they gave him a lot of money in terms of being a running back, but he was the second overall pick, and that's the way he was slotted, and that's the way he was paid. So I didn't have any problem with it. I know the Le'Veon Bell people out there will say he's getting more than an established veteran, but that's just the way it goes in terms of that position. The younger guys are going to get paid right away, and the older guys are going to have to fight for everything that they're going to get.
I was making not even an argument or a case. You can kind of bullet point why you think the Eagles are still the class of the NFC East, the class of the NFC. Sure, Rodgers comes back healthy. Green Bay, we know, is a different animal. Their defense still has to pick it up. But when you look at the NFC East, all these teams have some warts, and even the Eagles have a couple warts because they don't have a ton of depth at the linebacker position. But if you look at this roster right now, it's better than it was this time last year, Lloyd.
They are. They've done a lot of things to improve themselves, bringing in some quality veterans that are going to help them out. And let's face it, they are the champs. And, I think after a year being on top of it, they got their swagger even more. But I want to see that defense step up. We saw them in the Super Bowl give up that record number of yards, but still win the game. But this Eagles team is hungry. They seem to be not complacent after winning the championship, and it should be an exciting race. But I was just telling a colleague of mine the other day, I think Dallas has also improved, and also the Giants, as we talked about a little bit earlier.
Let's get to those teams for a couple of moments. You look at the Dallas Cowboys. Now, to me, you lose Bryant, you lose Witten. That's Prescott's. That's a young quarterback safety valve. They still have that offensive line. Elliott missed a bunch of games last year. He's always a threat once he touches the football. I'm not entirely sold on the defense, and I think losing Witten is a huge loss because, like I said, third down, you got to move the sticks, you got to move the chains. Does that put more pressure, in your estimation, on Dak Prescott to maybe make more plays this year, given, you lost two of those weapons and you're hoping other players emerge? Or do you think it's kind of status quo where Elliott can turn around and run the football 28 to 33 times a game?
Well, Q, I think first and foremost, they are going to try to lean on Ezekiel Elliott, try to get him the player they was in his rookie year when he led the NFL in rushing, and a guy that could catch the football out of the backfield. But as you were saying, that the key guy is going to be Dak Prescott. Can he elevate his level of play? I know he wants that big contract that a lot of these quarterbacks are getting out there, Kirk Cousins, Cam Newton in the past as well. He's just trying to get that big contract and get to that level, but he has to perform at that level. And last year he kind of regressed in terms of his reads. Teams kind of laid back on him, and he wasn't making a play. So a lot of pressure is going to be on him. The building block obviously will be their offensive line. But when I look at this team, losing Witten issues because as a receiver, he's a guy that he could be counted on, but they don't really have anybody to take his place in terms of the receiving core or Des Bryant. I know Des Bryant's been kind of down the last couple of years, but Beasley and Williams and the rest of the guys really have to step up, but none of them really are the key main guy. I know that we heard in the past Romo saying that one of these guys was going to step up and be the next Miles Austin, but you can't count on that because right now they don't have a go-to guy.
I don't know if that's a good thing. Miles Austin had one big game, and then he parlayed that into a contract. Serviceable wide receiver. The Giants making some moves. Keenan Robinson actually signs with the Bills. Dark was still unsigned. They lose Vereen, which was a disaster. He was never healthy. But they turn around and they sign Connor Barwin, which I think is a nice upgrade for some depth and some leadership. But listen, their offense is going to score points. We know that. And I think people will kind of understand the Eli detractors over the last several years where he's gotten zero production from his ground game, zero protection from his offensive line. Those things, obviously on paper, they've upgraded them. They had to. But I'm still a little wary of that defense. I think there's going to be games where the Giants will have the lead in the fourth quarter. My only concern is, can they get a sustained pass rush late? That's my one concern, because 2 years ago, their defense was the talk of the NFL. And then last year, guys just flat out quit and they stopped playing. This year, though, you have to be able to get to the quarterback, especially in the NFC East, especially in November, December football. and more importantly, in the fourth quarter. And again, it's yet to be seen, but that would be my one concern.
Yeah, they may have to outscore some teams, and we saw the Eagles do that a lot last year because their secondary was kind of leaky. I know the Giants are bringing in a whole new staff there, and then they bring in Alec Ogletree, Barwin, and some other guys on that defense to try to shore it up. But you're right, they're going to need some timely turnovers from their secondary. And this group, they're led by their great safety, Landon Collins. But after him, there's a lot of question marks out there. But Eli Manning, in terms of offense, I think adding Saquon Barkley is going to be a huge impact to this team, and they're going to be able to control the clock more. I think they'll get that running game going behind Hernandez, who they drafted, and Nate Solder. So they build up that offensive line, try to control the clock more. And you're right, that defense is going to have to step up in key moments of games. JPP gone and all those other great pass rushers they had in the past.
Do you think Beckham is risking a big payday by reporting to training camp? I don't. I think it's the right play, and I think you would like to think maybe all of a sudden this year things have changed. I think he's gone about his business. I think he's going to come back and have a flat-out monster season if he can play 16. I don't think reporting is going to hurt him. I think the Giants are eventually going to turn around and pay him.
You're right, Q. And I always talk about the holdout report back. I used to write a lot of articles on this, and I lived through the Westbrook holdout and the TO thing. And all these guys really don't help themselves because the team has them under contract, and they're not forced to renegotiate. I think the best thing is a good faith coming in, being a good soldier, and they see that, and they say, oh, all right, maybe we should reward this guy. But when the animosity creeps in, you see too often where a team is like, okay, we have you under contract. We can fine you about $42,000 each camp they missed, and then we don't have to pay you. So I think it's a good thing for Beckham to coming in there. He is going to get a new deal. Now, the interesting thing is down in Atlanta, Julio Jones is holding out. So these receivers, they all want to be paid, and they see the big contracts that some of these other guys got, like Cooks, getting there from the Rams. But I think that Beckham will definitely be the highest-paid receiver soon enough.
What year did Westbrook hold out?
Oh, that was
it 2004, 2005? Was it 2005?
It was probably after his third or fourth year in the league, and you see a lot of guys in this.
I think
you have that 5-year deal, and
right.
After they've done well, they want to get paid. So I think it was around 05, 06.
Yeah, because then I remember he got hurt in that Monday night game against Seattle. He missed the rest of the season.
Yeah, and receivers, they're learning more. We saw this with the Patriots and Deion Branch. They can move on and find somebody else. Branch holds out, and they get sick of him. They ship him off to Seattle, and he's just never the same guy. And receivers have to worry about that game because they need those reps, because if they come back too soon after holding out, we always see those soft tissues injuries, the pulled hamstring and all that. So I think Beckham coming back in is going to be a key to this offense. And I think Shermer's already talked to him and a new GM as well. Gettleman, I think they're going to do a good job with him in terms of building the offense around him and Barkley. So they've told him that they need him and that he will get paid eventually.
Listen, he's underpaid. Listen, he might be a knucklehead at times. Yeah, he might be a knucklehead at times, but when he's healthy and on the field, now again, they haven't won anything with him though. Let's be honest. I mean, he has monster games, but they haven't been a winning team aside from 11-5 a couple years ago. They've had some down years. But he's underpaid. He's undervalued. It's funny because I look at a player like him and then I look at what Julio Jones is doing in Atlanta. And it makes no sense to me because that is the contract that you sign. Now, again, he is a game breaker. He's a big-time player. That offense took a step back when they changed offensive coordinators. He's not going to report to camp, and he wants that contract reworked. And I got to be honest, this is a team now that gets to the Super Bowl, blows a 28-point lead, gets back to the playoffs. You could have made a case they could have beaten the Philadelphia Eagles late. So now you have to deal with this nonsense going into a season where they believe they're right back where they want to be, thick of things in the NFC. I don't know. To me, this is just kind of a bad look on Julio Jones. And you alluded to this. He can be fined $40,000 each day he misses.
Yeah, it's not a good look, and he sees Matt Ryan get the big contract. But let's face it, it's a quarterback-driven league. These are guys that are the face of the franchise, and they're going to pay them very high and give them that guaranteed money, and everybody's going to have to get in line behind them. And with that Ryan contract, getting $30-some million or close to that a season, their hands are tied. And Julio, as you were saying, he took that upfront money took the longer term deal.
47 million. $47
million
million guaranteed.
So they're going to wait him out, and they're going to probably see what's going on. We saw this last year with Aaron Donald, who might get a new contract with the Rams. Last year, it ended finally right before the season started. But hopefully Julio will come to his senses, talk to his agent. I know he's under new management now, and he's trying to get that deal out there. But they can keep playing without him. They can build around their running game with Freeman and the rest of the backs out there. They have a lot of weapons in Atlanta, but hopefully Ryan or somebody can talk some sense in them.
Just to come full circle with the NFCs, are the Redskins better at the quarterback position today than they were last year?
It's a great question. And Alex Smith, a very underrated guy I've watched grow since that 05 draft. And I think coming into the system, it's going to fit him well. And I think the thing is there's a lot of belief around him that he can lead this team, a guy who's more vocal in the locker room and players seem to respect more. Kirk Cousins, they just never seem to get behind him. So I say they are a little better, but they do need a running game, and they need Reed to stay healthy at the tight end position. Doxson and some of these other receivers step up to replace Deshaun Jackson and Pierre Garçon, because last year they never really placed them too, and he just had a lot of difficulty. So this division is very good, and the Redskins better step up where they can quickly be in the basement.
You still believe, though, the Eagles are clearly the class of the division. Would you go as far as say the class of the NFC?
Well, right now I'd say they definitely are the class of the NFC East, but they are going to have a fight there on their hands. And then you have to look at the Rams. They've added so many pieces. I know everybody talks about that dream team reference and all these free agents coming in like it's a basketball team, but right now the Rams are pretty high up there as well. But the Eagles are the champs, but you have Aaron Rodgers and the rest of them. And I want to see their quarterback position play out, how that's going to go. Everybody I've talked to says Carson Wentz should be ready in terms of at least middle of preseason to be out there and be ready for a full amount of reps. So you want to see where Wentz is and Foles, if he's able to continue that great level play. But right now I'd say the Eagles and all the changes that they've made still are a chance.
I'm wondering, is Des Bryant going to regret the fact that he didn't sign a contract with the Ravens?
Yeah, that was surprising to me that somebody wanted him and he didn't step up and take it, because let's face it, all these coaches and GMs around the league, they all talk, they all know each other. He has that malcontent kind of reputation out in the league. He should have taken his opportunity when he got it. He said, no, I want a different type of situation. I want to play for a contender. But at this stage in his career and his reputation, his declining production, he's got to take any deal that he can. He's probably going to have to wait until somebody gets a little dinged up in training camp and then get an opportunity.
All right. Well, listen, I look forward to talking every week. I always appreciate it. We got another season right in front of us, so should be fun. Always appreciate a couple moments, pal.
All right, Q. Thanks for having me.